Hi, Valiants. It's meditation time, and I think I've got a good one for you. And this week we're going to dedicate our meditation to the class of 2020. And I had a conversation with the senior class yesterday. We had a Zoom meeting, and I was really struck. I was struck by everybody was muted, but I was scanning everybody's picture on the Zoom, and I was struck by the prevailing sentiment seemed to be sadness. And that's one thing that I'm not used to seeing in Valiants, but especially in our seniors. And I get it. And so I wanted to, this is our last week with seniors at St. Genevieve, and I wanted to dedicate this meditation to them. I'm going to miss them. And they've been a great senior class. I think everyone would agree on that. They've just brought a lot of leadership, a lot of enthusiasm, a lot of great people, great individuals. I'm so proud of the fact that at St. Genevieve, when we can say we graduate people that I would want to live next door to, I just really have loved this class, but it was hard to see them sad. And so in my meditation, I've been meditating about our meeting yesterday. And I'll warn you now, if you're tuned in for this meditation, we're going to go deep today. We're going to go deep. This is a meditation about embracing suffering. We are about as developed as we can be psychologically and morally if we can go through a period of suffering and embrace it and even find gratitude for suffering. And that's what this week's meditation is about. So it might be too heavy for some of you, I don't know. But for those of you who've been doing a lot of deep thinking lately and are been thinking a lot about what we're going through as a world community, this one's for you too. But especially for the St. Genevieve class of 2020. I love you. Here we go. Posture. Feet flat on the floor, back against the chair. You're sitting up straight, but still allow your body to be relaxed because you shouldn't have any tension when you meditate. And I'm going to put on some nice soft music for you right here for you to enjoy. And I'm going to ask you to gently close your eyes during this meditation. And so whatever's happening in your house right now, I want you to stay with the sound of my voice. Keeping your eyes closed, block out any and all distractions. I like to liken meditation to and our thoughts that are constantly moving throughout our head to imagining it like birds in a tree. So right now, just imagine a tree with a lot of branches. That represents you. And I want you to imagine a lot of birds that are flying around those branches. And it's your job. Those birds represent your thoughts. And what I want you to do right now is to imagine all of those birds are starting to land on the branches. And they're going to stay still. All of your thoughts you are bringing to one moment in time. And that is this moment. See those birds landing. Forget about anything that happened to you before this meditation, and don't think about anything that's going to happen to you after this meditation. I want you to just be fully present in the power of now. And know that when you can do that, when you can let go of all your thinking, all of your thoughts, and just be present in the moment, it is a gift. So be fully present for this gift, this power of now, as we take in our first breath. And Remember that breathing is a key to good meditation. And so I want you to now start to inhale. Everybody together, inhale and fill up your lungs. You're filling your lungs to the point where your shoulders should even be going back because you are making room to fill your lungs completely. Hold the breath for a moment. Hold, and now slowly control your breath as you release it. Letting go of any tension, any tense thoughts, or any tension that you might be feeling in your body. Just let it go. Any burden that you're carrying, let it go. Whatever you're worried about, whatever you're concerned about, you can go back to that later. But for now, let those birds stay on the branches. Let that tree be still. Second breath, inhale. Filling up your lungs, fill them up. Shoulders are going back because you are filling your lungs to capacity. And now just hold for a moment and control it as you slowly release your breath. You should be feeling very relaxed right now. And if you're not, it means, I'm guessing, that you're either not controlling your thoughts or you're not breathing appropriately. Because when you fill up your lungs entirely, and then you let the breath go and you control it, you should be feeling a deep sense of relaxation. So let's make this third breath our best. Ready? Inhale. Keep filling. And then when your lungs are full, just hold for a moment and get ready. Let it go. And I want you to consider this. We all want to be happy, right? Happiness is what we search for. Happiness is what we wish for one another. But most of all ourselves, we search for it. Yet, in life, we all continue to suffer. It is difficult to find anyone in the world right now who has not suffered some loss because of this coronavirus. Many have lost the ability to attend school. Many have lost the ability to attend their churches, to go to restaurants. Many of us have suffered a loss of athletics. Those students who were looking forward to their spring seasons. A loss of doing a spring musical. So many were looking forward to Mamma Mia. Many have suffered a loss of the ability to have a traditional graduation. It's happening all over the country, all over the world, where seniors are not able to graduate from high school or college or 8th grade. Some people have lost jobs. Some people have lost loved ones. We've lost the ability to even be in the same space with each other. We've lost the ability to connect personally with our cherished friends. And some people, I think worst of all, have lost hope. Therefore, we may think that we are doing it wrong when it comes to the search for happiness and pursuing happiness. Somehow we are failing at happiness. We're getting an F. But that isn't true, Valiants. It isn't true. Being able to enjoy happiness does not require that we have zero suffering in our lives. In fact, the art of happiness is closely linked to the art of suffering well. Yeah, you heard me. Of suffering well. When we learn to acknowledge and embrace and understand our suffering, we suffer much less. Not only that, but we're also able to go further and to transform our suffering into understanding. We're able to transform suffering into compassion. And we even can get to the point where we can transform our suffering into joy for ourselves and for others. If we are smart, then we realize that suffering will pass. And if we are wise, then we know that we can take this suffering of losses and embrace it. Embrace the suffering, and it will affect the rest of our lives. Remembering to always be grateful when we are in the presence of our friends, because we've had this experience of not being able to connect personally with them, not being able to be in the same room. We have suffered that. And going forward, our lives can be better because we will be more grateful. Each and every time that we step onto a ball field or a ball court for the rest of our lives, whether as a participant or as a spectator, we will be more grateful because we've had this experience of not being able to step onto the fields and courts, not even being able to watch it on TV. The next time that any of us step into a theater, walk onto a stage, into the musician's pit, into a friend's home, into a classroom, because of today's suffering, it will provide us with tomorrow's gratitude and happiness. If we focus exclusively on pursuing happiness, we may regard suffering as a failure, perhaps something to be resisted, and that's impossible because life requires suffering. Pursuing happiness in our own lives should also be about embracing the suffering when we are in the midst of it. There are times when we must grieve the losses in our lives and know that it is okay to be sad when negative things happen in our lives. It's okay, Valiants, to be sad about any loss you have suffered these last 8 weeks. I encourage you to find someone to verbalize your suffering with. Find someone you trust. Set up an appointment to talk. Be intentional about it. Set an appointment to talk and be prepared to have a vulnerable conversation. And if you do, that will help you cope with your loss. Remember, these feelings of sadness, feelings of loss, feelings of grief, they're not going to last forever. Better yet, know that by talking about your losses and embracing your pain, you begin to transform your suffering. Knowing how to suffer, being willing to suffer, is essential to realizing true happiness. Now, there's a thought for you, and I'm going to repeat that. I said we're going to go deep, and here we are. Knowing how to suffer, being willing to suffer, is essential. It is essential to realizing true happiness. Now, silently repeat these words after me. Dear God, I shall never live this day again. Although my world has changed greatly these last 8 weeks, change can be frightening. I pray to discover your grace during these days of uncertainty. Fill me, God, with your grace. And may all be well with my soul. Amen. Open your eyes. I told you we were going to go deep. If we can get to the point in our lives where we know that suffering's part of it. And we can wrap our arms, our proverbial arms, around the suffering and embrace suffering, lean into it, knowing that it will pass. That's when we can discover true happiness in life. Because when things turn around, we've allowed ourselves to feel the suffering, to experience the suffering, and it only will permit us to be all the more grateful when life is good. And there are great things all around us happening all the time. And make sure we're looking for those blessings too. Don't just dwell on the things that we've lost. Make sure that we're dwelling on our blessings as well. Class of 2020, I hope many of you were listening. This was for you. Thank you for everything that you've done to make this school a great one. You've been a great class. I love you.